real estate
affects the market as a whole, which then sometimes will affect the 10-year.
Right. It'll come in.
to real life.
We all learn in different ways. If you think about it, Wayne Dyer might not attract everybody.
And everything in between.
Mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential.
The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right, we're back. Of course we are. This is kind of cool because this, I was just talking to Hugo about this. This is the longest distance stream person we've had on the show. This person's from Australia, so that's where we're talking to her from. Her name is Samantha Gold. She has had a business or a company for 2 months and is going crazy. It's something that just blows my mind. The company is called Motette. It is a bamboo pajama brand of all things, and it's just going crazy. She's been on news shows. She's been all over the place. She gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is really crazy. She was just telling us about that. But I wanted to introduce you to her because she's just lighting things up, and it's a very unique brand. It's a unique way of growing a brand, and that's about it. So let's bring her on. Samantha Gold is her name. How you doing, Samantha?
I'm doing great. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Excited to have you all the way in Australia.
Yes.
It's amazing. So what's it like over there?
I mean, it's great. It's actually my second time living here. I came here to study abroad when I was 20 and didn't leave for 6 years because I loved it so much, but did eventually go back home. I'm from Chicago, and it's now fast forward 10 years later. I have a husband and 2 kids, and he had a work opportunity come up here. And we decided about a year ago to make the move back to Sydney. I have a 3.5-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son, and they are thriving. It's hilarious when my daughter comes home and says things like, you know, to my son, Wesley, can I have a go? And we're like,
Can I?
Is that Australian? Is that a thing that they say, right? Can I have a go?
When she's like, can I have a turn playing with that?
Oh, right. That's so funny. Can I have a go? That's so fun. And does she say like any of the other typical Australian things? I mean,
all the things. She's, the stroller is the pram, a diaper is a nappy.
Oh my gosh.
And my
so
husband and I
funny.
will just look at each other and chuckle because
That's hilarious.
become
Now, is your
adult.
husband Australian?
No, he's American from Greenwich, Connecticut.
Wow. So you guys are definitely transplants, huh? You made the move. Now, do you plan on staying there for forever, or as long as you can see?
I mean, TBD on that.
Yeah.
I could see us staying here forever. It takes about 2. So right now we are sponsored by his company. He works in tech sales, and it takes about 2 years to get permanent residency.
Wow.
So I think we'll definitely apply and see what happens from there.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Well, you have an amazing brand that I found. I think you actually found me somehow because you're the person that gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like we said in the beginning here. But you found me somehow. And when I saw it, it was interesting. I mean, we turn down a lot of guests. We do. And it's unfortunate because we just don't have enough time to get everybody on the show. We would love to do it every day, but it's just not possible right now. So I saw this come up, and the bamboo pajama brand was what got me right away. And it's called Motette. And the fact that you've only been doing this for 2 months and the exposure you've gotten, what do you think this is from? What is going on? How are you getting this far so fast?
Grit and hustle, I would say.
Yeah.
I actually have a long-standing career in tech and sales. I started my career working for Salesforce and really moved up the ranks quickly. But I will say that gave me like an MBA in sales and PR and getting press. It's all sales, right? And so it's all building your list of contacts, people that you want to get in touch with that you'd be a great fit for, and then crafting a message and blasting that out. And then it's about the follow-up, right? And I've been able to really streamline that process and also bring on offshore resources to help me. I've been able to document that repeatable process, share that with them. And they're now blasting out about probably like 50 to 100 PR messages a day to, entrepreneur publications or media outlets, also parenting, mom sites. And that's how we've been able to get such great traction in the market so quickly. I think also, obviously, the product speaks for itself. We've been ranked a top bamboo brand actually a month after launch, but it's really about getting it into the hands of the right people so that you can get, awareness.
Why bamboo and why pajamas? Like what, I mean, that's actually two questions, of course, but like the bamboo thing is just weird to me. Like I look at a piece of bamboo and I go, how does that become a pajama? But then again, cotton doesn't look like it should be clothing either.
Right. So it's a similar process to cotton in terms of it being, crushed and then spun into fiber. But from a bamboo perspective and why Motette and why pajamas, essentially the brand was born after I became a mom. For me, I have always had a love for interior design and clothing and fashion. Prior to this, I was the CEO of a women's clothing company. And after the birth of my two kids, I wanted clothing that reflected my personal style, and I really couldn't find it. And
Mm,
so truly the brand was born because I was a mom that was tired of cheesy prints for babies and toddlers. And so I decided to create a brand that had elevated prints inspired by my love of interior design. And it turns out there's, tons of moms out there like me who are like, finally, a brand that really resonates with their personal style.
that's
And then
cool.
in terms of bamboo, bamboo is the fastest growing plant on the planet. It's obviously sustainable, great for the environment. But the other benefit, especially, which is important for children, is that it's really great for sensitive skin. So
Mm,
if your baby or your child has any eczema or skin issues, it's not going to irritate it. And I also, another feature that I rolled out was tag-free labels. And so everything is like heat pressed on as opposed to having a label. And that's also great for children that might have some sensory issues as well. And the brand, and I know we're going to get into this, Brad, has like truly been co-created with my mom
yes.
community. And so many of these suggestions actually came from real moms with children of their own who were experiencing, challenges or difficulties, or they wanted something different for their kids, who reached out and gave me these suggestions.
Yeah, it's cool. That's then the part that blew my mind. But can we go back a little bit to the tag free? Is it possible that you could talk to men's shirt companies and tell them to stop doing the damn tags? It's the most right, Hugo. Isn't that the
That's
most
right.
annoying thing when you're somewhere and the thing is it's hitting your neck? It's terrible. So
Yeah.
we need to work on that. We'll have to work on that next. But yeah, so then the thing that blew my mind. So it says in here that this was created by an inner circle of 2,000 moms who helped co-create the brand pre-launch.
Yeah.
I always was told there's too many cooks in the stew or too many cooks in the kitchen ruins the stew. How do you get opinions from 2,000 women and not go completely crazy?
Yeah, definitely. So what I do is it's very specific, right? And so what happened ultimately was that I realized when I was starting this brand that it was going to probably take about 9 to 12 months, but I didn't want to do it alone. And since we had moved to Sydney, Australia, as many entrepreneurs know, it can be very lonely being an entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
so what I started to do on my Instagram pre-launch was share what I was working on. And so that really gained momentum, this build in public strategy. And then I ended up coming up with something that I call my inner mom circle, where I turned it into this whole group of women where now you have to be part of my close friends on Instagram to get access to these polls. And, I think a lot of people are like, you've built this amazing community. Is that a lot of pressure to maintain? And it's not, because I literally share in real time what I'm working on. And so right now I'm actually working on the fall collection. And so, I had a mom reach out to me. I launched just a boy girl sweatsuit. I call it my little lounger sweatsuit for toddlers. And they were like, we'd love to see these in different, solid colors and prints. And I'm like,
Mm,
great. So I basically choose the prints and then I start sharing them with the audience saying, do you like this green stripe? Do you like this beige stripe? Would you like to see this in a floral? And I get them, and I just use the Instagram feature, which is polls. And
mm.
then they vote on it. And that truly, helps me make decisions from a product-based business perspective. It's so important because it reduces the amount of risk, right? Inventory is the biggest cost for the business. And this allows me to make sure that I'm investing in products that moms are actually going to want.
Yeah, smart.
And they come up with like amazing ideas. I mean, the biggest thing that I'm about to launch, which was not on my radar, are mommy and me pajamas. I mean, moms go crazy
Oh,
to be able
yes.
to match with their kids, and especially boy moms. I think a lot of brands forget about boys, right? And boy moms. And so
And we're
I'm
very important. I mean, we should
right.
not be forgotten. I mean, are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136. I'm not wearing pajamas that much anymore, but still, I mean, come on, think about the
Well, when I
boys.
launch Daddy and Me, I'm going to send you a pair of
I would love, and if it would be the full thing that my feet go in and everything, that would be awesome. I mean, I think that those would be the most comfortable thing.
A full onesie.
A full onesie or whatever you call that thing. That would be awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's like, nobody wants to see that, you know?
Yeah, I'll pull my inner mom circle on that one.
Oh, man, I can tell this is going to be terrible. I'm going to get voted off the island in a second. It's going to be terrible. But no, I think that's a great idea. So what's neat about that, what you're saying, and now I'm kind of getting it, is that you get these ideas, you know, because as an entrepreneur, we don't know everything. We have a vision. We have a vision. We have a drive, and we have a passion. But, you know, the whole saying that we don't know what we don't know, you know, you didn't even think about that. But your audience, I want to call them your audience, is telling you what you should think about doing. Sometimes it might fit your goal and your vision, and sometimes it might not. You know, it depends. But you have a choice to make there at that point.
Totally. And I think like that's been the biggest thing is leaning into that. And now I've really built these like friendships with these moms who are literally all over the world. And that's been incredible.
That's cool.
And I think as an entrepreneur too, like, you know, it's especially when you have new products coming out and you're investing a ton of money, it's scary to like, don't make assumptions, like ask, find out, right? Even if it's like a small focus group within your community, ask first before you go all in on something, and get feedback, because I think you'll be amazed by, you know, how many people love to contribute and are willing to help. And that's the other thing, like you don't know what you don't know. And, you know, I've never started a business. This is my first time doing it. I was a CEO of a company, but I had an entire team. And so, you know, when you're a founder, you're wearing all of the hats. But I think it's about and someone gave me this advice, and I think it's the best advice that I've gotten, is learn how to do everything first before you outsource it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, there were areas of the business, actually my social media, I was going to outsource to an agency. And after like a month of working with them, I ended up realizing that I really wanted to share in real time what I was working on. So I brought that in-house. And within a week, I was like a whiz at it, right? I was like an expert. And I think it's just fear. It's fear that holds us back from like, I don't know email marketing, I'm just going to outsource that, right? But you end up spending so much money as well, versus if you would just take the time to learn. I think it's so empowering when we can just learn how to do things ourselves. And then we can say, you know what, I don't actually enjoy this. This is a repeatable process that I could easily pay someone, you know, and find offshore talent that's very cost effective to be able to do this.
Yeah. Do I hear one of your guinea pigs in the background that wears the pajamas?
Yes, my employees actually. I actually have them I pay them as employees.
Hey,
If anyone is listening, you need to set up a custodial Roth IRA for your children. Okay. For me, it's very legit because they actually are my models.
I love it.
It's, you know, it's been an amazing way. And it's not even that much money. I think you contribute up to $7,000 per year per kid. And I'm going to do that until they're 18, and they'll have, you know, a nice nest egg when they're ready to retire.
Yeah, that's cool. And I've heard of people doing that.
My employees are acting up, Brad.
Well, obviously the boss must be out of town or something. I don't know what's going on here. That's funny. You know, and the thing about going back to, I was thinking when you said about learning how to do these things before you outsource them. The one thing that I've learned about with doing the podcast here and doing different things as an entrepreneur is that also what it does is it sets the value when you do leverage it. Because what happens is when we leverage things and we don't know what it takes to do it, we don't know the value of it. Right. And I've learned that a couple times doing the podcast. Like I know Hugo over here is very valuable to me because I can't do any of the stuff we do when we have a person here in the studio. But I've also learned how to do a couple things with reels and shorts and things like that and clips that I was paying for before that maybe it's not as, you know, it's not as hard to do. So, so you learn these things and then it puts a value on it. So if somebody tries to charge you $1 gazillion to do something, you're like, wait a minute, I could do that in 5 minutes. Why are you charging me this much? You know what I mean? So
I
it's
mean,
it's a good thing to do. It's great advice. Really good advice.
yeah. I mean, PR agencies, the quotes that I've gotten are, $5,000 to $8,000 per month,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I have someone in the Philippines doing it for about $500 a month.
Yeah.
And they're probably sending, I would say, 10x emails and outreach than what an agency would do for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, you should get me that information too, because I'm thinking about doing some stuff, some VA stuff, some virtual assistant stuff too, just to help out with the show. So let's go into, okay, so you were CEO of a women's fashion label.
Yep.
What made you go, I'm done with this? Did you have children first and then you decided to be done? Or did you decide before children, I can't do this when I have children?
So honestly, it was really like stars aligned. I spent most of my career in tech and consulting and was consulting for this women's clothing company. We were living most recently in Charleston, South Carolina. And
Okay.
while I was doing that, one of the co-founders who was really running the business side stepped away. And the co-founder that stayed on was the designer, and she really needed someone to come in. At the time, I was actually already thinking about starting my own brand, but I thought, oh my gosh, this will be incredible experience to learn from a successful, brand, how everything is run from manufacturing to marketing to, they were primarily or are primarily wholesale, which I didn't have any experience in.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take that opportunity. And then it was really the move to Australia about a year ago that prompted me going all in on launching my own business. We sold our house in Charleston. The market, really took off during COVID. And so I had the startup costs that I needed to fund this business and also have, a bit of security for, 1 to 2 years while I built up the brand to be able to support the family financially and contribute. And so that's what really prompted the decision to go all in on launching Motette. I knew that I wouldn't be able to continue in the CEO position from Australia. And so I decided, okay, this is the perfect time to launch my own thing.
No, that's cool. And did you know about clothing then pretty well? Did you know about materials? Did you know about these things, or did you start researching when you realized what you wanted for your children wasn't out there?
I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know anything about children's, fashion, about fabric. I don't have a background in design. I just knew what I wanted wasn't out there, and I knew that I could create it. And I knew that I could be successful at it because, I hustle and I grind and I have so much grit.
That's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. So you had said here that you have the DIY PR strategy. So basically, it says you personally pitch 50 to 100 media contacts a day.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing also. You can't just pitch these people one time and expect a response.
Yeah.
And so, you need to constantly be coming up with new reasons that are compelling to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing that I want to let people know, right? Journalists and editors need you as much as you need them. And so I think like we put them on this pedestal, like they have a job and they need content and they need fresh ideas.
So true.
And so, for you to be pitching them, whether that's a founder pitch, whether that like for me, the Forbes feature that's coming out is actually based on travel. This woman specifically covers travel. And you think, well, how is she going to cover a Motette baby brand? Well, so many of my prints are inspired by my love of travel and interior design. So I have this pink symphony print that's actually based on the Sydney Opera House, right? And so it's like that angle. It's so funny. I just got a confirmation the other day that a journalist, is writing an article in Consumer Reports, and she's doing a piece on bedwetting and why you need PJs that wash really well.
Oh, wow.
And hold up for kids with bedwetting.
And
so that's
they all go through it.
100%. So that's
100%. Yep.
another angle that I, wouldn't have thought of, that she's going to incorporate Motette into that piece.
Love it.
And so, there's especially from like a founder perspective, like me leaving my corporate job, me launching this company based on my love of interior design because I was a mom that was tired of cheesy prints. I'm also 7 years sober, right? And so
Wow.
recovery in AA and like, hitting rock bottom 7 years ago really propelled me on this path to want to pursue something that really aligns with my values. And so there's just so many different angles. And if you don't know what your angle is and you're listening to this, ask ChatGPT. Say, ChatGPT, what is special about my story? What's unique about me?
Hey guys, I want to take a second and thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They have 24/7 emergency service and a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. If you need help with your heating and air conditioning or indoor air quality, call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. Mention the show and receive a free humidifier with the installation of a complete system.
And by the way, I leverage ChatGPT and AI across like every aspect of my business. And when you're reaching out to these people as well, don't just make it about you. You need to make it about them, right? Like your first sentence or two and your subject needs to be about them. Like your recent piece on bedwetting. As a mom, this resonated with me. I'm going through this. Right. My daughter woke up and peed herself this morning. There was pee everywhere. Right. And share that. They want to know.
And even the bed liners are not that good. Did you ever notice that? Can you come up with a bed liner that actually works? I swear, there's times with our kids, we were like, oh, it's no problem. There's a bed liner and we don't have to worry about the bed. And then you pull it up and the bed's wet anyway. It's like, what do you put a plastic trash bag around the bed? Did you never notice that? Do you have that issue? I mean, we bought some of the best bed liners and they don't work.
We're not really there yet. My daughter wet through her diaper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, there's times where we have a boy. So there's some interesting physical things that happens with a boy with a diaper that sometimes it doesn't even get a chance. It just comes right out. And so then the bed, but we have these liners on and they're supposed to do their job and they don't work.
Yes.
No, it's unbelievable. That's a whole different story. So you'll have to work on that, inventing that. Since you did this thing, you can invent that next if you could. But so I'm just amazed at how fast you're growing, what you're doing with it, because it's just incredible. But you're using all the tools that are out there, using social media, you're using your persistence, which is something, and as an entrepreneur, you have to have. A no does not mean a no. It means just keep going, So let's talk about funding. You said, it says here that you grew without any outside funding. You're doing this. You're kind of doing this the old fashioned way, which is you saved up the money or you were good enough to invest, and now you're doing it on your own.
100%. Yep. Like I said, the sale of our home in Charleston gave us, a good nest egg that I'm using to invest in the company. So, definitely important to have a partner, my husband, who really believes in me and my goal.
Awesome.
Not doing it with any outside help. I think for me, the biggest thing is like not giving away equity in my company. I've had actually like some venture capitalists reach out to me and express interest. But it would also mean that I wouldn't have the autonomy that I have as a founder if I gave away equity or took outside funding, depending on the agreement. And for me, it's just really important to remain, in having sole ownership for now. But I think that also goes back to like being super wise with how I spend money. Like I said, my biggest cost is the product. And then in terms of like bringing on talent, it's the reason that I've decided to hire people in the Philippines. I have 5 employees now that I work with, one that does all my social media outreach. So this is something that we didn't get into in terms of like how I actually got to 2,000 moms.
Yeah, go ahead.
Interesting. I looked for brands that I felt like aligned with my aesthetic. I look at their followers, and then I actually reach out to the moms that follow those accounts and say, hi, this is the Motette team. Your style really resonates with what we're creating. We'd love to have you join our inner circle and weigh in on future decisions for the brand. Is this something that you're interested in? And then I offer them a perk, like a 15% discount on purchases for being a part of it. But like the reason I bring that up is because on launch day, when we nearly sold out our debut collection, 80% of purchases came from moms in the inner circle.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's just, and what's amazing you're just touching the surface of this thing. It is not even like really out there yet.
Right. Totally. And we actually just opened up wholesale last week. And just in a week, we have 6 boutiques that have already ordered the product. I had a showroom actually reach out to me this morning and say that they're interested in carrying the line. And so what that would mean is I'd have representation at market. If anyone listening's in the retail space, when boutiques actually go to purchase for upcoming seasons, they go to market in Dallas and Atlanta, and then I'd have a showroom representing the brand. For me, the margins are obviously a lot lower with wholesale, but the great thing about it is that I think of wholesale as free marketing, right? It's building brand awareness, getting the brand out there. Someone buys a pair of pajamas at a boutique. They're like, I love these. Motette.
Yeah.
Let's go to their website and check them out, and then they
Yeah.
become a customer.
Yeah, that's what's cool about the boutique type stuff is that they
Right.
become and you're at that level yet too where we also we have some fun today. I don't know if you can see the hat behind me here. That is Stephanie Taramina, and she's a soul. She started the brand. It's been on a lot of actors and actresses wear the brand. She's been in the studio here with me several times. And it's the same kind of thing. She's actually does the customer service to this day. She still does customer service. She
Yeah.
actually picks up the phone when somebody's calling for a complaint of some sort, and they're like, she's like, "Oh, this is the owner." They're like, "What do you mean it's the owner?" She's like, "No, this is the owner." And it's just funny because they're surprised. Then the whole tone changes, and they're like, "Well, we just had a little problem," And they go through the whole thing, and then she takes care of it and sends them a new product or whatever it is. But it's
100%.
incredible. You should check out that brand. Seriously, you would.
I would
Yeah, it's
love
called
to.
Have Some Fun Today, and it's a really cool brand. Her name is Stephanie Taramina. She's great. Yeah, one of the other things too, before we wrap this up, I wanted to ask you. So where you're doing this for 2-3 months, whatever it is.
Yep.
Where's this going to be in a year?
Well, I hope in a year we're in, over 500 boutiques, and have grown our direct to consumer customer base probably by, 500% at that point.
Yeah.
And I hope to be, launching new products and really expanding and growing our product line. I actually am exploring some influencer celebrity collaborations.
Cool.
Where they would partner with me. I'm actually talking to a well-known Charleston influencer, her agent at the moment, about a potential collab, and we would actually expand into offering sizes for older kids. Right now we go up to 6-year-olds, and so looking to expand that to probably up to 12 or 13-year-olds, and do this collab with her where her name and her likeness is attached to it. And I know that's going to really help us grow brand awareness. For me, that's like the biggest focus. And then I think in a year from now, really focusing on profit, right? I'm spending a lot of money to get the brand out there. So to be able to look at things and say, okay, now we're finally, taking in some profit, and this has legs.
Yeah. No, and you're kind of like on this really fast path. So a lot of times they say, with an entrepreneurial type investment, usually a lot of times it's 2 to 3 years until you really, really see,
Yeah.
the money start to come in. But you're
Yeah.
doing things on this really, really, really fast path where you've done in 2 months. Sometimes people takes a year and a half.
Right.
So hopefully you'll be able to see that in a year because you're on a much faster trajectory, which is awesome. Very
Yeah, and I
cool.
think to that point, I've had a number of founders reach out to me, and so I am now offering one-on-one consulting for founders who
Awesome.
want to really replicate my process. So if anyone's listening and interested and wants to just have a call to talk about strategy, I would love for you to reach out.
Yeah, and we'd love to spread the word on that too on our socials. So to make sure you get us the information on that. If you want to send us like the information just on that, we can get that out too. So before we wrap this up, Motette, where'd the name come from?
ChatGPT, name my company.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, of course. I wanted to call it Petite Motif because everything is based on tiny prints and my love of prints, and that trademark was taken. And so my trademark attorney, which if you're listening and you're thinking about starting a brand, do not buy any domains until you talk to a trademark attorney.
Oh man.
They were like, you need to come up with a made up word. And so I asked ChatGPT come up with a made up word based off Petite Motif. And one of the options was Motette, and I loved it. And that's how we came up with the name.
I love it. I love it. I was thinking maybe it's like your mother's maiden name or something, That's the kind of story I was thinking was going to come up here, but no, that's okay. That's really good. But tell us how we can get your product and what's the best way to get in touch with you if somebody is interested in being one of the moms, how do they reach out to you about that? Yeah, if you
So
can get us that information and then we'll wrap this up.
For sure. At Shop Motette. So Motette is spelled Moteette. So at Shop Motette on Instagram, shopmotette.com. And my personal Instagram, if you're interested in just having a conversation with me, shoot me a DM. It's at the Samantha Gold. And if you're interested in joining the inner circle, send us a DM at Shop Motette and we will get you added.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I love everything you're doing. I think you're going to be coming back for another episode if you would want to, maybe in a couple months, to get an update on where you are. And no, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep us informed so we can be sharing this information on our socials. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. All right. There you have it. Samantha Gold, CEO to mom founder of Motette. She's got 2,000 moms helping her out across the world to help come up with ideas for this and patterns and all kinds of stuff. I've never seen anything like this. And she's only been around 2 months or 2.5 months. Imagine where she'll be in a year. We'll make sure we stay in touch with her. Keep watching the show every Thursday at 7 p.m.